Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you come across this video. Welcome to Next Gen Parenting, where you'll be interacting with Lisa Barsi, your gender activist and better parenting coach. Welcome again. Today, as earlier mentioned, we are going to be talking about physical signs that you may identify in a child that have experienced sexual abuse. Don't forget, yesterday we dealt with behavioral changes that comes with it, and today we'll be looking at 3 physical signs that should be a trigger to you as a parent, to you as a caregiver, to you as a mother, to you as a father, to know if this child is going through any form of sexual abuse. And what is number one? Number one thing we'll be looking at now is unexplainable injuries, and most especially around the genital part, bruises, bleeding, or difficulty in sitting, walking, and the rest of it. You see a child, most especially the female folks, she cannot close her laps anymore. When she's walking, she's like separating her legs. She cannot walk well again. You see that there are some changes with her footstep, and when she's sitting, when you study her, she find it difficult to sit well. She find it difficult when she's standing up. And for the children that are still under the age that you as a parent, you're still batting them, you realize that whenever you want to scrub the child body and your hand is going down his or her private part, the child tends to shout, the child scream, the child cry. That's a sign of sexual abuse in children, and this is number one thing that parents should look out for in their children. And what will you do when you realize this? You ask that child a question. Do not forget, always be intentional about reassuring these children that you will never blame them for anything, that you are their number one fan, that you protect them with your life, being that you are their parents, and all that you so much care about them is their future and their well-being. So with that, these children will be relaxed. Don't also forget that you have to make yourself accessible for your children. You have to make yourself available for them and also make them your friend. Okay, how do we do that? We, as earlier mentioned, we discuss as family, we discuss about our daily activities, and we also share ideas, and always be intentional about not being judgmental. Okay, then we move to number 2, frequent urinary tract infection or STI. Okay, you are in and out of hospital trying to treat a child of STI, different types of STI, frequent urinary tract infection, sexual transmitted infection, unusual medical condition, especially in young girls. This should be one of the things that will tell you that this child may be going through sexual abuse without your knowledge. Okay, the child is having frequent urinary tract infection, sexually related infection, and what have you. You're always taking the child to the hospital for medical attention because of sexual transmitted infection, most especially in female children. Please, this is number 2 sign that indicates that this child may be experiencing sexual violence. And when you notice this, you still have to talk to this child. And number 3 thing is sudden change in hygiene, avoiding taking their bath on time. Some children will be taking their baths more often than usual. Do you know why? They feel dirty. They feel disappointed. They feel they are not good enough anymore. They feel they are different from their peers because they have experienced gender sexual abuse. And this is how depression sets in. And once a child is depressed, you tend to lose a better part of this child. You see that the child that is always very intentional about their personal hygiene, the child can even want to go a week without wanting to take their bath. The child don't even care about changing their underwear. They don't even care about changing their clothes. They're like, so what do I need it for? After all, I don't have any value in life. Again, everything has ended for me. This is not what I wanted for myself. This is not what I planned for myself. I have already disappointed my parents. I've already disappointed my mom. Like a child that I have an interface with sometime last month, the child was sexually abused. Did you know what her problem was? Her problem was that after the death of the father, it was only the mother that was taking care of her. And she already made a promise to make the mother proud. And when she experienced this sexual abuse, the only problem she had was that she has disappointed the mother. Yes, she has disappointed the mother. She's no longer the child that she wanted to be to the mother. And it was killing her. She was being depressed. She was going through a lot. And it takes a lot for a psychologist to counsel the child and bring the child out of this depression. That is why we as parents, we should be intentional about looking out for our children, know what is going on in their life, and now we should come in to address these issues. And you can also see that for some children, every minute they are going to take their baths. The next 1 hour they are going to take their baths. They take their bath more often, and whenever they are coming out, if you look at their facial appearance, you already know that this child is having some burden in his or her heart. If you pay close attention to them, you know that this child is not an happy child. This child is already feeling dirty. Look at me, look at my peers. My peers are still virgin. I wanted to be a virgin at least till so age, or I wanted to stay a virgin till I'm married, and because of that I cannot be the doctor that I wanted to be. I cannot be the banker I wanted to be. Don't be surprised that children may be thinking so much less of themselves because they feel that they are not up to that thing, that the plan, that their initial plan has been spoiled. And if we don't come in as parents to address this on time, we tend to lose out on these children. So please, there is no room for critics when it comes to gender-based violence. I come across one woman that a child that stays with her was sexually abused, and all she could do was to blame this child over it. I don't know if she would have reacted that way if the child was her own biological child. Because I wonder how the child was being abused, and you are blaming the child for being wayward. You're blaming the child for not going to the market that you sent her directly. You are blaming the child for smiling with people on the street. You're blaming the child over everything instead of you helping the child come out of this situation. Please, it is never a fault of a victim. Okay? It is never a fault of a survivor. That child is already a survivor of gender-based violence, and it can never be that child's fault. It is always the fault of an abuser, the perpetrator, and there is nothing like ignorance of law. So whoever is involved, be it your husband, be it your in-law, be it your own siblings, be it whoever it is that is the perpetrator, should be reported and justice be prevailed, because that is number one thing that will help that child to surmount their challenge and to move on with their life, knowing too well that there was judgment for her. So parents, Do well to look out for our children in order for us not to miss out at any point in time. Thank you, but do well to like, comment, share, and follow this page for more tips. Be intentional about sharing this page to your colleague, to your family members, to your friends. You do not know who really needs this information, and you are definitely going to help someone out there to get the information that they have been lacking in their life for a while. Thank you very much. See you next time.